That's an interesting
Excuse
way
me
of
for
putting
one
it.
sec.
No worries.
Got a little
So you
tickle,
got
but
got a little throat goblin.
yeah.
But yeah, so what was our
Um,
point?
Oh,
Not cults.
no, we're talking
Before
about
Skyrim.
westerns and Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Yeah,
So
Buster Scruggs.
one of the greatest things about that like really got me into it was the way like I'm a big short story guy. So
Okay.
it's like
So
seeing
were you a spaghetti western fan? Were you like
yeah.
the good, the bad, and the ugly, all that shit?
Yep.
Okay.
I
So not like the Pilgrim, not those
no.
ones, not the Americans.
No. But see what I liked about this one is that it told those stories in like a fresh way. It wasn't the same like tired trope of like Clint Eastwood as the badass gunslinger coming in and like, well, I'm a tragic anti-hero and I'm gonna kill some people and you're gonna hate me and you're gonna love me and the women are gonna love me and this is a western. It's like it's not
Yeah.
like that at all. It's just it's like it's just like a very like sort of I almost like, and it's like it's like Hemingway's my favorite author. Like a lot of the way he'll take like an ordinary sort of scene and
Yeah.
like and it'll like extrapolate all this depth from the way in which the characters dialogue to what they're doing. Like on the like the surface of the narrative is really bland. Like that's what I like about that movie is that like there are the Western thematic connections. Like the story is a little bit mundane, especially like the one with Liam Neeson where we're walking around with that guy with no legs and he's fucking making him do a one-man show and you're just like, oh, this is tragic. So what really got me about that was the opening thing that like half a guy does in that short scene is the poem Ozymandias. Do you know that one?
Yeah.
And I had only heard that like I read it in high school, but I forgotten it.
What
And
is
then
that? It's like I am Asmodeus, like King of Kings.
yeah, hold on. I want to pull this up because I think you'll appreciate this.
I am no. That was the Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, no.
That was the Mamma Mia.
No.
The I am become death,
No.
destroyer of worlds.
That's the Bhagavad Gita.
Bhagavad
You're
Gita.
right about the King of Kings.
That was
thing, though.
the Hava
So-
Nagila, I think it's called.
So Ozymandias, yeah,
Hava Nagila, Hava Nagila.
Ozymandias is by Percy Bryce Shelley, and it's I met a traveler from an antique land who said two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read, which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them, the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear: My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty in despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away. And what really so they don't say that whole poem in the episode, but
The episode of
or I'm sorry, not in the episode, in that short part of
yeah.
the thing. But I went back and looked up the poem, and then I watched the thing again. And like if you look at like what I think is so cool about it is that like Ozymandias the poem like it like is basically saying whatever it is basically saying like it's like you go out into the desert like somewhere like Egypt or something and you see these ruins and just these massive works of like a civilization that has been completely wiped off the map and has absolutely no footprint in term other than this like and in this case the thing is just a wreck. It's just the legs and the face is half buried in sand, and you can read the inscription that says, "Look on my works, ye mighty in despair." And what I think they're trying to do with that is be like the American idea of like the traveling roadside show of that of this like this hallmark of American performative art is completely dead. It's not or at the very least it's not at all in the same iteration.
Yeah, it's like the silent movie stars.
Yeah,
it's like some like Hollywood, the Sunset Boulevard
exactly.
type shit.
And I think it's like hinting at that. It's like the theme of that one is a lot of like is that this whole lifestyle, this whole American way of life is sort of from an age gone by, and like all the themes that like we kind of carry into today that like we take from this are also themes of something that's gone. Like and it's like and I think that's why it is where it is in the narrative. I think it's like somewhere in the middle there, and it's sort of like I just thought that it like really like that, and then just the comedic relief that they're able to achieve in that between the like the prospector and the whole thing with like James Franco as the bank robber just continually getting out of trouble and then ending up dying like a first time. You know that thing that's become a meme now from that, where he's being hanged. Like that is just like that's like I was just impressed that they were able to take something as overdone as Western stories and tell them in a way that like I hadn't engaged with before. And
now the next one that we're gonna have to watch, well, I guess that already was like Django, where they played like contemporary music, kind of like the Marie Antoinette of like Westerns, where they play out of period music,
or like the new Gatsby, the Baz Luhrmann.
Oh my god, yeah, with Jay-Z on the fucking when they're on the highway and it's like that thing was like a cinematographically, I don't know if that's a word. Cinematography wise, it was a fucking nightmare to watch the new Great Gatsby. I was like, ugh, what am I looking at? It's like everything's green screen. It's like shot nothing practical. It's like The Room. Like they shot the whole thing, or Room, or whatever one's the bad one. Wherever they shot it in one green screen location. Like, just fix everything in post. Yeah, you get in the car, you're in a Rolls Royce, you're driving around. But I may try to rewatch Buster Scruggs. But I think the reason I appreciate these creators' movies like Coen Brothers is because I can call bullshit on the ones I really don't like that much. Like Tarantino, I still haven't seen Jackie Brown, but I heard it was great. But I didn't really like Grindhouse as much. And I thought for a long time From Dusk Till Dawn was Tarantino, but it was Rodriguez with Tarantino's help, I think, in the writing process. But anyways... do you want to hear my theory on the Kennedy assassination?
Please.
Okay. Well, mine's a quite simple one, and this is heavily based in the from a book by T.J. English, The Corporation, which is a biography, basic like a historical perspective of the Cuban mafia in the 60s.
I love that.
Cuban mafia. So the Cuban mafia fled to the United States after the socialist revolution of Fidel Castro, because there was Batista before, who was a corrupt politician who let casinos run corruptly, let cops run corruptly. And then there was the revolution because the corruption got too far. And the corruption was led by Castro, who, once he got into power, then basically admitted to his people that he's a socialist. And then, they were celebrating the protesting of the corruption, but now you have corruption in another sense, in this governmental authoritarianism. And so they fled their life in Cuba. They had to leave it behind and go to America so they could have more opportunity. And the Cubans came from, which is why like a lot of Cubans voted for Trump, which like people were surprised by. But if they just studied a couple pages of history, a couple decades back, you'd figure out why.
Yeah, we talked about that last time too. Like,
yeah, exactly. But so here's the thing: so the Cubans came over, and they brought their crime families as well. They brought their organizations, their corporations, as they put it. So they placed themselves in Miami and in Union City, New Jersey. And they run a numbers game, and a very clever. I love criminal innovation. That's why I like black markets and how black markets are very effective economies that have no bureaucracy, because it's just like it's life and death. So you cut to the simplest business solution.
Pure supply and demand. Pure real economics. Praxeology.
Yeah, of course. And so, anyways, they brought their corporation and they ran a numbers game, which was competing with the Jews and the Italians, because it was a more fair numbers game. See, so every gang had their numbers, but each gang had a price to fix the numbers. So the Cubans stepped in as a honest competitor to this like rigged gambling system, and they give a fair lottery, a fair illegal lottery. Yeah. And the way they picked their numbers was random, but they needed a publicly accessible random number that could be reliably checked by everyone every week. And so what they chose was the last, because they would do it 3-digit lottery. Yeah. And that's why Cubans have a very heavy numerology culture, because numbers, there was literally books about how to turn your dreams into numbers, how to turn like, oh, I was being chased by my uncle through a field of grass, to a burning house. And so it has like symbols like grass, water, earth and stuff, and they interpret into numbers. It literally, so you can take your dream and be like, oh, I had this dream, like, oh, your number is 106. 106 is your number.
It's almost like the I Ching.
What's that?
It's like an ancient, I think it's I forget what Eastern tradition it comes from, but it's some Eastern tradition, and basically it's something with like sticks or like you throw them in a certain way,
Oh yeah.
and basically like there's all these like numerical and like
Yeah.
geometric patterns
But my
that you go
point
in.
for this
Yeah,
is that it's
crazy.
connected to organized crime. So the lottery is
Makes
is
sense. Yeah.
steeped with cultural essentialism, where it's like gambling is part of our culture. That's what it says to me. Is that it's
Hmm.
like there is a culture about interpreting your dreams, your deepest, most subconscious thoughts into how to pick numbers to tell
Playing
your
around
bookie.
numbers is
Yeah,
our thing. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
But with money, and so like these organized crimes were able to like make like their take that as the best marketing class you'll ever see. These people have like people who go to Yale and Brown to for Harvard for PR, and then you have this organized crime that's just like, well, yeah, we'll just infuse it into their religion. We'll infuse it into their subconscious so that they like playing our playing our lottery is not just about the
Yeah,
money; it's about their destiny.
yeah.
And they make that a cultural thing, and bada boom, you got like a generations of customers because now it's a cultural thing. So, anyways, they bring their lottery there, and oh, I didn't tell you where the numbers come from. So the numbers, the three numbers, come from the last three digits of the United States debt, which is posted in the Sunday
That's
Times every week.
hilarious.
So they use
I
the
love
last
that.
three numbers. Now I don't know if it's the deficit or the debt or the GDP, but they use a production number from the United States that's posted every week in this in the Sunday paper. Everyone has the same paper across the United States, so they can the bookies aren't verified for what the numbers are.
Can I say there's something so poetic about the fact that like we use a number like the national debt to run a
Yeah.
black market.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that makes
Even
me
the black
hard,
market
man.
is
That's
like
awesome.
it's like Wall
Like,
Street. They're making a bet on like some real shit that really affects like how their neighborhood is going to be transformed.
yeah,
And they're making bets on it. They're throwing away their expendable cash instead of saving it or like starting a legitimate business. They're like, oh, I'll just throw it at this mob because my mom's always taking care of me. But now you're in America, so although we don't have like your revolution that's going to scare you away, we do have some pretty like aggressive sharks in the water when it comes to real estate,
yeah.
when it comes to like terraforming a neighborhood and like gentrifying it. But anyways, my theory continues. The Cubans, there's a huge influx of Cubans, and we know the Bay of Pigs.
Hmm.
Bay of Pigs was the 2516 regiment, the 2516th regiment of the U.S. Army. They were on a special ops mission that was not talked about, that was off books by Kennedy, and or it was off books started by Eisenhower, taken up by Kennedy.
Yep.
Kennedy just didn't have the passion behind it like Eisenhower, because Eisenhower was the inceptor of this idea. He
That's his
created
shit
this.
right there. Yeah.
Yeah. And so Eisenhower did not get to see his plan come to fruition, but Kennedy was led to be the one to carry it out, and he just didn't have the heart to do it. So he left these Cuban soldiers stranded in the Bay of Pigs. They did not supply air cover. It was a secret mission, so the public couldn't even be informed of their necessity, and they were just left out to dry. Kennedy left them out to dry, and they were taken into prisons. They were tortured in these like ancient castle prisons in Cuba that were built by the conquistadors to like imprison natives. So it's
Yeah.
like you have some real elitism, real classist, colonialist undertones as well. It's very ancestrally torturous. And so they finally get rescued, but not before Castro gets concessions from the U.S. government to buy back the soldiers. So now the Cubans are being traded for more money. So now the Cubans were left on the beaches, and then the Americans came in and paid the Cubans to let them go. So they left the Cubans richer, and they left some like fellow comrades behind in the sand. And so that's a
Damn.
huge scar in the Cuban community.
Yeah.
A big reason why they did not like JFK. And then JFK starts blowing his mouth off about secret organizations. Secret society should not be allowed in decent society. The United States Treasury. Like, I feel like I feel like there's multiple gunmen because they had different branches of government that wanted him offed.
Yeah.
And I think the
everyone
CIA
just picked the same day.
CIA, yeah, exactly. They're all like, all right. They met in like they met in like an intranet. Like when the first computers, they met in a chat room. They're like, want to kill Kennedy. They're
It's
like,
a real
"We're
two
only
dates
go-"
to the prom situation
Yeah,
for
exactly.
Kennedy.
But that's the funny thing is like the internet back then was exclusively for the government. So it's like only people with the power to actually get someone whacked were like talking about this like QAnon shit.
Yeah.
But
The deep state.
yeah, so I feel like they had them killed by Cubans soldiers, because the Cubans were strung out to dry when it came to the CIA. They were essential in doing a lot of covert ops. That was CIA mission was the 25th 2516th regiment to take it over that was led by the CIA. It was like a secret foreign destabilizer mission, and it failed because the commander in chief was like, I don't feel so hot about this. Let me go finger bang this fucking schizophrenic pilled up blonde that we run trains on.
I will think about this right after I've had my fun.
Yeah, exactly. You're fucking drunk. But yeah, the CIA
Patty.
and the CIA and the Cubans were like this, man, because the CIA saw, and it basically like a super influenceable, because you always dangled Fidel Castro in front of them. As long as they could promise them, and then you do this, then we go kill Castro.
Yep.
And they kept doing that over and over and over again. And I think the last straw was Kennedy. I think that some guys were convinced, they'd be like, you kill Kennedy for us, you make this look like nothing happened, we'll pin it on the whitey, you get that too. And, no more Kennedy. And you get revenge for that shit. Because they held like a reunion in the Orange Bowl in Florida or something like that. And like the reception was not warm for Kennedy.
Oh.
And we're there with Jackie too, and the people were not happy about it. They're like, fuck you, man. Like, you left us out there to die. So that's my theory. I think the Cubans were recruited by the CIA to kill Kennedy. Plain and simple. Because I think the Treasury also understood, it's like, all right, we're leaving the gold standard.
Mm-hmm.
We need to we're starting to more
Big
primarily
mistake.
base our wealth in how much we can trade and produce.
Yeah.
We're going to need a militant arm to force foreign economies into the will of our stabilizing of currency, of our like stabilizing the American psyche by saying like, don't worry, your dollar's protected.
A complex, perhaps.
Yeah, we're $500 million in debt to China, but your money's still secure. Your money still works. People still want your money, even though it's based off of like the product we make is more debt than actual value. So
Yeah.
So my point that's my point. I think the deeper state, because it's just, I don't know. I feel like presidents are only caught slipping. Their security is only caught slipping when that whatever cabal of deep state people don't want that new guy to be in there.
Oh, absolutely.
It makes me wonder why Trump didn't have any assassination attempts. Or was he just so rich that he had private security no matter where he went?
I mean,
like people he could buy off.
They don't need to assassinate anybody anymore.
They probably liked him being up there anyways,
That's
right?
the best part. I mean, if you think about if you look at their idea of the theory, right? Like if you look at like someone's like some QAnon person's idea of what happened with the Trump administration.
Yeah.
Like you would.
They thought he was Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
They thought he was literally like an angel sent down from heaven to save the children from being sold in the Obama administration.
Yeah.
Like,
but
did you really
it's like,
think this is
it's
happening?
like if you look to like the less crazy people, like so if you look to the people who are just like your regular conspiracy theorists that are right wingers that believe like this was some sort of setup, like they would point to the from day one push for impeachment, right? Like all during the campaign, all of the information that was released about like Oppo research stuff. Like the whatchamacallit, that whole thing with the FISA courts and the I
mean, I can't blame him for
Steele
being
dossier.
suspicious, because like the Democrats were so upset that he won. They were so burnt.
Yeah,
they made fun of him. They even have Obama on stage at the what's it called, the correspondence dinner.
Yeah,
like waving it in Trump's face, like you're never gonna win.
Yeah.
You're never gonna win. And I feel like you kind of just make fun of someone enough where they're just like, fuck you, and they just do what they want, and that's how he won, because he was just like, he was the fuck you vote.
Yeah.
But then also it's like, to the people who finally get him in office, he's just there for his ratings. He's just there for his brand. You think he actually gives a fuck about you? You think he is got all this money and like has all these businesses and gets up there just to help you who work in like a convenience store in like Tuscaloosa? You know, like no, he doesn't give a fuck about the little guy.
He's pissed that all of these people that he used to work with fucking publicly slandered him, and he wanted to show them to.
He's just
themselves.
playing whatever side of the fence will boost his ratings.
And
he doesn't really give. He doesn't have. I think he's been married so many times over, had so many baby mamas. Like, you don't think he doesn't walk in the light of Christ. He's not like the most Christian guy leading the most like Christian lifestyle.
A big thing with their, you know, like why I almost don't blame some of them for feeling like this is the case. Like that whole thing with the Steele dossier and the FISA courts was legitimate. Like I mean, they have a legitimate claim there. Like, which is, it's kind of annoying to hear all that stuff get lumped in with all the crazy conspiracy theory shit that they do, because like they're like, which is, I get, it's the point of conspiracy culture is
Yeah.
basically to take stuff that's legitimately concerning and make it seem like either benign or make it seem like it's part of this ludicrous package. But
Ludicrous package, by the way,
The-
is what you can
great band name.
know is what you can actually get for your Model X.
The
Now that
Ludicrous
Elon has
package? Oh my
unlocked
God.
the plaid mode, you can also get the Ludicrous package, which is the premium, cheaper version.
Yeah, but like that whole dossier was basically like party funded lies.
Oh man,
Like that was brought up before
I want to get
a
into
judge in a court that wasn't public,
it. Yeah,
that was verifiably false information that they used to get a warrant to wiretap the incoming president.
I
want to
I want to get into a parallel conspiracy theory, which is the government wielding social movements for political leverage.
Oh, classic.
So
yeah.
here's the thing, right? Remember that Cuomo got caught up in all this numbers debacle, and CNN and MSNBC and like his brother's channel, CNN, Andrew Cuomo, fucking came out of the basement
Yep.
because he did chest exercises. Fucking Andrew Cuomo, the brother of a governor who lied about deaths.
Chris is the brother.
Chris
Andrew's
is
the
brother?
governor.
Oh,
Yeah.
whatever. Fucking, they're both a bunch of criminals.
Yeah.
But Chris,
Guinea mobsters.
I mean, they're just, you can't trust Italians to be politicians. How many times do we have to say it?
As an Italian, that's true.
It's just stay in the kitchen, make the sauce. You know what I mean? Leave the Italians, leave the politics to the boring wasps. Just rob you blind. They're
Yeah.
gonna fucking rob you blind, anyways. But at least they have like nice doilies and shit. But they don't wear tank tops and like
They'll
white
do it with a
beaters in the
smile.
Senate.
Yeah.
They don't have Cuban links and like fat hairy knuckles with Rolexes.
My knuckles aren't hairy, thank God. I
Anyways,
also can't afford a Rolex, so
whatever
Stereotypes.
stereotypes.
Maybe the hair comes with the Rolex.
It's true. It's like a Rolex with a gold band. It's got hair underneath.
It's like as soon as you get a
Yeah.
Rolex, your wrist just grows like 4 sizes, and your
Yeah,
hands
each
get all
Rolex
hairy
is
and
sold with pinched hairs from an Italian man's arm, like
Yeah,
stuck in their waist.
fat. Just
It's stuck in
ingrown
the vein.
hairs.
But anyways, he lies about the numbers. He threatens another politician, another legislator, with like serious consequences if he opens his mouth about these numbers. He gets caught with these numbers. Now CNN, even his own brother's channel, can't keep this heat off of him anymore.
Yeah.
They can't just keep defending him, even though he's writing a book about how awesome he is, and he lies about all these deaths that he caused during a pandemic that was already causing a lot of deaths. So then I saw the last nail in the coffin, and I want to talk about this today when I was at the gym on CNN. His favorite channel. It says Cuomo apologizing for allegations, and when you see allegations, when you see a white man, like when you just see a politician, a male politician with allegations under it, it's over. And like that was the instinct. I look up at the screen, and I'm like, that's it, last nail. Like he's being ousted.
Yep.
But it's crazy that I know that that's gonna happen, because isn't that always the last thing that buries someone? If they want someone gone, the last thing they throw at them, the thing that sticks, is the Me Too, is
All
the
of these
allegations.
people are pervs, so like it's like
yeah.
basically like all they have to do is just keep. And it's just like any fucking cabal, right? Like
Yeah, man.
like any club, it's you have dirt on these people,
Oh, yeah.
and because you're in such a position of power, you leverage it, and basically if they become a liability, if
Yeah.
they fuck up, if they don't toe the line, guess what? They're done.
But here's the crazy thing, right? It's like, here's the question then. On the side of the victim, or the alleged victim, because we have some situations where after a serious investigation, it still proves non-provable. Like there's absolutely
Yeah.
no evidence. People have recanted statements that previously were propped up by these like prosecutors and things like that. And
Brett
you wonder,
Kavanaugh.
yes.
Yeah.
I was kind of dancing around it, but yes. Christy Blasey Ford, because she came out at a
mean
very opportune time when he was
Bubbles from
about to
Trailer
be
Park Boys.
yeah, when he was about to be he was about to be confirmed, and everyone came out. Same thing happened with the newest lady, the lady that was to the Supreme Court after Ruth Bader kicked the bucket.
Amy Kavanaugh. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Coney Barrett.
Amy Coney Barrett. Yes, thank you.
Amy Coney hot dog chili eating contest, Coney Island hot dog. Yeah, well, she was brought under fire immediately. So it's like, it begs the question: are these accusers being bribed by the party to shut up until the right time, or are they being paid off like they're digging deep for anyone who made one thing? Because it's like if
I
these
think it
things were
depends
so
on the
heinous,
situation.
the people would have come forward about it already, right?
Well, so here's the thing.
So are they being silenced
I-
until the paywall is like deserved, or
So one of the things you see a lot in these cases is like you always notice it buried in the article somewhere is like, you know, this was reported to a supervisor like 2 years ago and was like shuffled under the rug.
Yeah.
Like that's something you see a lot. So I think in some of these cases, it's basically we're gonna bury this until
that's what I'm saying. So it's even worse.
Until
They don't
you
give a fuck
cross
about
us.
victims. They don't
No,
care about
they never
victims
have.
of sexual assault. They just
Dude,
care that
Hillary
they can.
Clinton was the torchbearer of this shit. You know how
Oh,
many
yeah, man.
how many victims she personally degraded and tried to silence
Yeah, man.
of her rapist husband?
Because at the
Like,
time it wasn't, it wasn't good to like call out Bill because she needed to ride that wave.
yeah.
And at the time people still liked him, and now it's like, I don't know, man. It's interesting. It's quite interesting that people put that heat on people. But there are people like that. There are people who are elites who are scumbags, who do this stuff routinely and they don't get. And then when it comes out, like those are the ones I'm happy about when I see. When it's not opportunistic, when it's not like you
Yeah.
get something for them going under the bus. Like I'd rather them see all of them go under the bus if they did some like behavioral pattern shit,
That
like
are-
where
yeah.
they're showing like they didn't just fuck up, they like have a behavior of like abuse.
This is who they are. It's just like one of the things I found funny about the Cuomo one, and that kind of talks here, is this setup, is this like they're just letting it happen and they just take their foot off the brake. For this was like, so there were a couple allegations from staffers about him having inappropriate comments, behavior. The,
Italian
And- guy, and then-
of course he
yeah.
say appropriate shit.
and then there was another article today, in the New York Post about an inappropriate, like Twitter's blowing up over an inappropriate comment that the governor made to a reporter, and they're like, he told her to like eat the whole sausage because they were sitting there eating these Italian
Oh my
sausages,
God.
and it's like
That shit's almost onion level. No pun intended.
yes,
but like
yeah.
onion article level shit where it's just like so out of context.
It was so, and I mean, there's a video of it. You can, I mean, he's clearly making a fifth grader's joke about like sausage. Is like, oh, it sounds funny to be like, oh, it's a big sausage. It doesn't fit in the camera. The sausage, like, you know what I mean? But like,
He's
like
Italian.
like,
he can't help it.
He's
Italian. He can't help make a sausage joke.
he's sitting at the New York State Fair in front of 15 cameras. The joke started because he was talking to a journalist about how difficult it was to eat on camera and how he's been trained to eat on camera, and he basically invited her to come over and sit down and eat on camera with him as like a hey, like see how fucking hard this is, like, and so they're over there and they're just like, they're talking and laughing, like he's just making a stupid joke, and his daughter's sitting right next to him, and they basically just froze a frame of his daughter like making a face like this or something like that, and they're like, look how uncomfortable his daughter is when he says this, and it's like, she's a fucking 14-year-old girl. You don't think she's gonna make a resting bitch face scowl at a political event with her dad?
It's not the governor of New York. It's their dumb dad making
Exactly.
stupid dad jokes that they probably heard for like the millionth time.
Yeah, it's like,
So-
oh my god, every time we have Italian
here's the
sausage,
thing.
dad says something stupid.
Sometimes
like
I think they're playing some 5D chess too, because they'll throw a bullshit story in like that so that we can attack that story and ignore the other shit that they're like pumping out. Like ignore the more evidence heavy shit. Like we make fun of the funny stuff, but it's like that nobody listens to the real shit. They're like, well, if people
That's
are
the
just going
UFO
after,
approach.
people are just going after him for stupid shit anyway. So why should I believe this actual article that shows he's like an abuser or shows that he's like a predator?
That's kind of what the media does with everything. I mean, if you look at
It's like gaslighting the public.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're just thinking of the crazy story. No. The other one where they have evidence that like they have pictures of these people being on Epstein's plane. Oh, well, plenty of people fly 26 times. That's because he had to make a bunch of trips to a bunch of different countries.
Yeah.
Oh, so he got different. Like he was actually starting to learn the language of the kids that he was predating. So he had to
Bill
go to a
Clinton
different
likes a
foreign country.
variety of underage girls.
Yeah.
It's not just underage
he
island
doesn't see
girls.
color.
Yeah, no,
He doesn't see age either. He's honestly one of the most woke people that we got.
I'm with her and her and her.
Oh boy, that's Epstein totally did kill himself though. I don't know what you're talking about.
What?
He was obviously
Yeah, of
suicidal. He was
course,
obviously
yeah.
super guilty for having all that money given to him by billionaires that
Yeah.
totally didn't pay for him to go to jail at the
The
right time.
penthouse, the island.
Even though Ghislaine Maxwell was the mastermind of this whole thing because her father was intelligence and all of the other siblings that she has are in some governmental corruption backdoor search engine that they sold to the CIA and
Maxwell House call.
yeah, fucking bunch of crooks.
Wake up to the pedophilia.
Yeah. Well, the pedophilia is just a different branch, you know? It's like she's just playing that part. Like, I feel like she's not like a pedophile. I feel like she's just an evil, twisted criminal. That
She sees an opportunity.
Yeah, she's just like, well, this is one of the things that men get caught up for. So this is my cottage industry now.
Yeah.
It's just blackmail.
Yep.
Because if you blackmail powerful enough people, and what they don't tell you about is that these scientists, there was a huge scientific in Silicon Valley contingency of this whole Epstein thing.
Oh, I believe
so if
that.
you can
Those
control
guys are
scientists,
freaks.
if you can control like what science say, like scientific experts,
Science
AI experts,
says.
yeah, exactly. It's like you have these scientific experts on. If they're have like a picture of them with a 14-year-old over their head,
Yeah.
they'll make anything science, they'll make anything fact, anything that Ghislaine wants to be fact. They just print it.
I was like, listen, Dr. Fauci, you got to lock down the country. We have all these pictures of you on this
Yeah,
island. We know what
dude.
you've been doing. We know who
At the
you've
end of the
been
day,
with.
though, you got to think like the web goes so deep. This is where conspiracies always stop for me. The web goes so deep that I'm like, that just requires a lot of smart people, and I know a lot of people are fucking idiots.
Occam's razor.
Like I work with a lot of people that are scraping by because that's the only thing they know how to do. But it's like it's got to be the same in government. They've got to have like some senator's son who is a lawyer's son of a whatever, and it's like at a certain point you just have the boy who's just been raised in that culture, in that family, and they're just like, this is just what we do. Like, all right, pops, it's all right if we just rob these poor people blind because
That's what politics is. It's
helps
that
them.
game. I mean, like in that sausage video, you can listen to Cuomo say some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard, and he's like, "Yeah, I had to take a whole course on eating on camera because you know when you're eating on camera, you have to think about how the people see this and this." And I was like, "Dude, you are not a human. Like the fact that you need a course." On like how to present your eating best means you are a fucking like person who should be not trusted with power.
I don't know that it's a pretty New York thing to be worried about how you look like eating on camera. Because have you seen those like World Star videos where there's friends catch them eating a hot dog and they're like, "Hey,
Yeah, but like you're a human being. Like I mean, like
no, I just thought that was
Yeah.
funny New York shit. Because New Yorkers do that. They'll catch them watching like eating. They'll catch them. They'll watch them catch them eating a fucking hot dog. I just had a fucking stroke again. Holy shit. I'm just elevated, but no. Yeah, Cuomo's just like a criminal. So same with his brother. They're just
his dad Mario.
yeah. It's his bridge now too. The Tappan Zee Bridge is now the Cuomo Bridge. But
I love the way Tim Dillon says Mario Cuomo.
Mario Cuomo. He also talks like Trump too. He's like, okay, and we talk about it. Okay. But I love Tim Dillon. Shouts outs to Tim Dillon, who will never hear this because he has way more important things to do, like destabilizing QAnon.
Yeah.
See, this thing that bothers me about
He's
QAnon
gonna call
too,
in
it's like,
20 minutes.
There's obvious shit. Yeah, let's join him on Clubhouse right away. There's obvious shit where kids are actually being harmed. Because I have a sensitivity to like kids being hurt too, like as anyone should, you know, because it's like I feel like childhood is the veil between innocence and reality that should
100%.
be lifted slowly by a caring parent. Like you should be able to have Santa Claus, you should be able to have the Tooth Fairy, you should be able to have magic in your life before you realize there's disappointment. Like
Yeah,
you
I
need
don't want to turn my kid into a psychopath.
you can't go back
Like,
from that. So you need a pure state before anything happens to you, and you have to, you know, if you have enough privilege to raise someone in a healthy home, you have the ability to give them that veil for a while, the ability to give them a childhood.
nurture all those good habits while they don't have to deal with anything. So
Oh, yeah.
hopefully when they have to deal with something, they have all the right tools to do it. But that honestly, that doesn't always work.
Doesn't
out
always
the way
work,
it should.
but that's my point. Is why hurting kids hurting kids is particularly heinous because
Yeah,
you're like then you're intentionally
sure.
ruining them, and you know how sensitive they are.
Especially because the people who are doing it most oftentimes were themselves hurt.
Yes, that's true, and which is why I had such beef with the Catholic Church. But then QAnon is so Christian and so like it's a righteous war against those like satanic pedophiles. But why it obfuscates the point where it's just like you have to cut across like religious lines to view abuse too, because you can't just ignore that shit. Like it's so institutionalized, it's so
Yep.
like out there in the open, like everyone knows about it, but like the organization still flourishes, and it bothers me.
Yeah, it's messed up.
Because then it's
that,
like not all churches are like that's like it's like
course
yes
not,
all
but-
women, no, like not all men, yes all women. But so that's why like I don't believe in QAnon, not because it's like I don't believe there's corruption, but because they're not looking at the right corruption. I almost feel like they were created as like a smokescreen to like to be like, see how stupid conspiracy theorists are, stop looking into shit or else you're gonna be
100%,
painted
yeah.
as an idiot.
I mean, because there's so
They're all
much
crisis actors. QAnon's filled with
Crisis.
crisis actors.
hot
That's the thing-
take. Yeah,
That's the thing about social media though, is you don't need a whole cabal of people if you create a cool enough marketing campaign. If you
Yeah.
have a cool enough logo that you want to print and put on your laptop, if you can belong to a tribe, it's like, yeah, it goes back
Everyone
to
wants
cult
that.
shit.
Yeah,
It might
absolutely.
go against your ideology. You might be like, well, I believe in like 4 out of 7 of those points, but I already believe in 4, and it's not like I believe those damn liberals over
Yeah,
there.
and it's not like I'm going to get anything done on those four without or with those people. So I'm going to try to work on what
Yeah,
I can.
it's
It's like,
policy voting.
yeah,
It's like single issue voters and shit.
it's stupid because it's basically like instead of trying to find common ground with all of us, everyone's like, I'm going to find common ground with a smaller group of people that I can sort of wrap my head around being
Oh
lumped
yeah.
in with.
So I appreciate
And it's
comics like Andrew Schultz, Tim Dillon, people who cut across both lines and like make
Yeah.
fun of everyone. They just level on politics and political elites and shit.
I mean, but that's the thing, right? Is like all these people are just fucking horrible, distasteful human beings who should not be trusted.
No.
It doesn't matter whether there's an R or a D next to their name. Like every time you think this person is your best interest in mind, remember that their job is to rule you, and that like you should probably think about everything they say with a massive grain of salt, like
for sure.
like a fucking like like a massive like boulder sized grain of salt.
Yeah,
People can't be trusted.
but
They're not our friends.
they're not. Politicians aren't even real. They don't affect your you don't. They just pass a waving hand, and your life is different. So like, why give them so much clout? But in more
It's just that.
exciting news, have you
Mhm.
seen Post Malone's virtual concert cover of Hootie and the Blowfish's Only Want to Be With You as a CGI character for the Pokemon's 25th anniversary?
That was a lot of clauses. That's a lot to deal with. I
Santa
hadn't
baby.
even heard about that, but
So-
that sounds kind of wild.
Post Malone put on a live action captured CGI virtual concert. So it's like there was an avatar of Post Malone in a Pokemon world floating around on cool platforms. And he's walking around dancing, holding his mic, singing into it. But it's motion capture. They turned him into like a CGI
So he's
figure.
basically got like a little like
Yeah.
suit, and he's doing the fucking.
Yeah, so he's like
Damn.
he's a human, but he's like a digital human because PS5 is promoting a Pokemon game.
What's it? It looks like Ash, like in a.
No, it's a weird updated. It's a very simplified. It almost looks like a VR like doll or like avatar. He's very shiny and cartoony, like Lego hair kind of shit. But he's singing Hootie and the Blowfish's "Only Want to Be With You" because Pokemon came out in 1995. "Only Want to Be With You" came out in 1995,
So it's,
and the lyrics have some like subtext where it's like,
was he born in '95 by any chance?
it was probably like he played those games as a kid. He's probably born in the 80s, so he probably in 95 was like a little kid playing Pokemon. But the lyrics of "Only Want to Be With You" are like kind of Pokemon-esque related when they're saying like we come from different worlds
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But maybe that's just, or maybe it's just he's a meme lord and he just wanted to do some shit. Like I'm sure if there was something that came out in like the mid 2000s, like and he was making music about that, he'd be like Nickelback. He
Yeah,
just
right.
picks the
Yeah.
meme band to do. But I just thought it just makes me realize that like art is all so subjective because I wouldn't put on Hootie and the Blowfish's "Only Want to Be With You." It's like
Oh,
a
I
funny
would.
song, yeah. But then when Post Malone sings it, and I'm like, damn, this kind of slaps. Like this is a
Yeah.
good little song. It's a good little ditty that I like here. But I don't know, it's just interesting. It just made me think of like how influential he can be. He's like, I like anything he touches because he's just such like a charismatic guy,
Mm.
you know. But I was also had a really interesting philosophical thought today that I wanted to bring up to you.
About Post Malone.
No, so I was watching, I was getting elevated, as I was telling you before. I was getting elevated, and I was
Of
watching
course.
this drug trafficking show. And they pull up to the boss's house, and it's a 3-story house. And my first thought was like, who the fuck would have a 3-story house? And it made me think of like the place you live in. And I was like, I couldn't imagine what I would do with another floor on this house. Because the house I live in now, we have 7 bedrooms because the family used to fill the whole house.
Damn. Yeah.
But now it's like a pretty much an empty nest, and like once I go, like all the kids will be out of the house. And so I'm thinking like, what do you need all these rooms for? Like how much do you need in your life? If you have a 3rd floor and you're living by yourself, it's like what are you doing with all those other rooms? And then it made me think like maybe I'm just not living a 3rd-story house confidence level. Maybe I'm thinking that my life is limited, that people can only have 2 floors. And then maybe if I had a 3rd floor, I'd be like, this is why you have a 3rd floor, because you need that 3rd floor if you can have it. So it just makes me think of like, how limited people's success is by like their environment, where it's like getting out of the hood, like why would I get out of the, this is where all my friends are, or like, you know, like going to college, I wouldn't go to college, like my high school friends are all working at the docks, like, you know what I mean, like I don't know, like, you know what I mean, like
I just think that's funny.
wherever
Looking
you're
at the
born,
docks.
you know, people do
Yeah.
that shit. There's like there's places, there's groups of, there's
All of
cultures.
my friends are going on a whaling ship out of New Bedford this
Yeah,
month.
exactly. And it's because they're like, oh, come on, we make great money. We're all together. We're bros. But it's like, I don't know. It was an interesting thought
That is
because
an interesting
I
thought.
have like some very lofty goals in this life, and none that could be accomplished by thinking that I can only have 2 floors. Or like uncomfortable with the fact that I might have 3 floors. Because it's like maybe I do need all that space. Maybe I have like unique sets. Maybe I film shit in my house. Maybe
Yeah.
it's an office. Maybe I need multiple spaces to think.
It's like for us, we have 4 roommates and it's a duplex. So like we only
Yeah.
have what, like there's 2 bedrooms and I guess 3 bedrooms on the second floor and 2 bedrooms and a closet that I've turned into an office.
And even with all those rooms, sometimes
Yeah.
you still want to take a vacation to a hotel.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's
So
what
it's
I
like,
did on Friday. I went to the casino,
that's what I was saying.
lost a shit ton of money. Also, learned how to play roulette and blackjack at the same time on those little virtual screens.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I was hitting big on roulette that night. I got up like $200, and then I was like sitting there. I was like, I'm feeling 21, and I was fucked up, and I threw $5 down on 21 red. Came up, $180 in the pocket. Walked out smoking a cigarette, and I was like, I should walk away now. And then I was like, let's see what happens. Down $150.
That's how they get you, motherfucker.
Yep.
I work with someone who won a lot of money on the Super Bowl, then lost it all the next day at the casino. The house always wins, and
Yep.
it's a regression of statistics. It just keeps the odds will tilt back to them eventually, because you got to walk away with your profits. It's called a stop loss in day trading. You have to have a time to sell out, enough hands lost to say I've lost the day. I don't want to lose anything else. This is going to dig into my profits.
Sunk cost fallacy
Yeah,
keeps you
sunk
going.
cost fallacy is what keeps people from quitting college. Is a
It's
cultural
true.
pressure of saying don't you want to be a dropout, and also you have to convince yourself by saying, well, I'm already in it by sophomore year. I can't quit now, or else I won't get that piece of paper that's up there,
Literally, yeah.
fucking literally just sitting on my shelf. I'm not doing. My degree's right there above your head.
Mine's
it's-
in a drawer somewhere.
yeah.
So I feel you. Yeah.
So I had mine in drawer, but I'm like, if I want to frame it one day, I don't want to bend it. So, but now I'm thinking about more lofty shit. Like, I was telling my girl this. I want to create an arts academy. I want to create an arts academy called the No Excuse Arts Academy. That is a free public school, and my ultimate goal is for it to be a full-time public school that can be attended by people. But you get in through an audition, or because I went to a magnet school that was math and science magnet school next to an arts magnet school, and I really liked the idea of vocational high schools because I feel like high schoolers in America don't know what the fuck they want to do. Like we were talking about the last time I went over your place, is the fact that you can be undecided in college is such a heinous thing, because
Yeah.
it's like you shouldn't be paying tens of thousands of dollars to not know what the fuck you want to do
It's
with your life.
true. It's fucked up.
And so I want to create a vocational public school, especially that gives access to those who don't have resources for private school. And I want to create a very well-funded, thought-out curriculum of art and execution of your art, business, to be able to monetize
Yep.
that art, to be able to live off that art, and not just be told like you can do anything you want, you can achieve your dreams. It was like, how can you afford to pursue
actually
your
do that,
dream?
yeah.
And then the third pillar would be sexual education, because I feel like teen pregnancy is the dirge of like fiscal success, especially in like lower income
word.
areas that are the alternative is like government programs that reward more and more children. It seems like the
Yeah.
easier path out, and I want to create generational wealth in communities. I want communities to be built off of independent generational wealth that can then feed
Yeah.
back into the community, because that's the most effective way to create a culture of success in your neighborhood.
As
And
opposed to centralized dependency.
yeah, and it uplifts the morale and the spirit of a community when you're connected by other people's kindness and charity and like proximity to prosperity.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
so I want for them to secure their bag and make sure they can use that bag on a family when they're ready.
yeah.
But I want to make sure they can reach their fiscal maturity and their like business like acumen maturity by the time, so they can actually support a family instead of being desperate for that family. I want them to achieve their dreams so that they can fund a family instead of having to like be desperate and give up on their dreams just to fund
To
a
fund
family.
yeah, dude,
There's a lot of
that
people
is the
locked
biggest
in,
trap.
you know?
It's a huge trap.
A lot of excuse that people get to use not to pursue their dreams. I have kids, I have the stable job, I have a
Yep.
mortgage. It's not just for people in lower income areas either. It's people who think pursuing their dream isn't the right thing, so they pursue
It's frivolous.
the nuclear formula first, and then when they're sad that they didn't do their dream, they're like, I wish I did my dream. They can blame it on every other thing.
Yeah.
But that's why I want to start. I want to focus on teenagers in high school. They're very formidable years. The couple steps before they jump into adulthood.
Tom, all you have to do this is commit to doing this and keep doing it.
Oh yeah. So this,
And-
I have a very strong vision of this, to build a curricula. I have phases in my brain of how I want to do this. First, it's an after school special. Then it's a half day public school where people get supplement their humanities through arts, and then I can feed credits back to their public school system, and then eventually moving on to like a stable enough curriculum. And I want this to be partially funded as a patronage from local businesses. I want to connect local community businesses, local banks for business loans and credit and like lines of credit and savings and retirement and all that stuff. In order to secure your business, I want to support local financial institutions,
That's a
local
great idea.
businesses, so that to understand that in order to sell your music, a pizzeria might want your music, or
Yeah.
might want your art, or might want your performance on like a night at the restaurant, like an open mic kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I want to connect businesses, but I also want to bring big fish too. Like I want Apple on the phone. I want the Tesla. I want to establish connections, genuine, actual business relations, to create like a rapport between private businesses and say like, you can trust our students because we only yield elite artists who are dedicated
Yeah.
to their craft and will follow through with their projects and have the business acumen to like, go toe to toe with you in your business.
Yeah, and dude, I love that model of thing. Like I've talked with my brother and a friend of mine who's in education about like doing like something similar, which is in terms of like educating high school in a different way than
Yeah,
we
man.
typically do in terms of like fostering like an independent spirit for learning, teaching kids. My biggest thing was like teaching kids philosophy at a younger age to get them
Yeah.
engaged in how to think about solving their problems and doing the best thing for the right reasons as opposed to for expediency.
And like the pedagogy, like how you teach the kids. Maybe it's not everyone sit down in a lecture hall and be
No.
talked at. Sometimes like
Doesn't work for all of us.
that's why like I want to do an arts academy, because I always found that artists are so expressive. They know how to communicate what they want, but if you tell them you can only do it in a 5 paragraphs essay format, they're going to fail,
Yeah.
because that's not their best. Maybe they need to do it through theater or through like poetry or something like that. And I think, schools are created to force us to respect adults and follow orders from superiors and like respect hierarchies and like office culture, like you were saying.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They should push people into the corporate workspace. And I think more and more we should be raising critical thinkers, like rogues, people who take shit on their own and like don't just go along with the how are you doing, oh great, and you, but like they
engage with the world on a
yeah,
day-to-day
they really
basis.
create their own path. They really have something to say. And I want to harvest great talent, and I want this school to outlive me. I want a legacy. I want something left behind, and I want to make a promise to my students that the doors will never close on this school, no matter what.
Yeah.
And to create a structure, and also solving the financial problem of how to create a self-sustaining organism that yields returns and decentralizes power away from like shareholders and more to the essential seed of a business idea.
The core function of,
Yeah.
of what you actually want to provide.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos didn't start Amazon because he loves books.
No.
He saw a path. He saw a weakness in the market where he could get in at a cheap level and try to like sell big. And he slowly turned himself into logistical like god
Yeah.
who controls the Earth's trade routes with a flick of his wrist.
Yeah, he's basically the British Navy circa.
So
like
it's not like he
1630.
got into Amazon because he loved logistics and made things want to run super efficiently. He was
Yeah.
just like a cutthroat businessman who got exactly what he wanted. And that's something to respect for the accomplishment in of itself, but I don't want my school to be the most like profitable school.
Yeah.
I just want it to always have its doors open to the public.
He
And I
wore
want
it
it
out.
to be an audition process that like gets artists not just that are amazing, because maybe we want growers. We don't want like people who are already
Showers.
at the well, not with these children. No, this is inappropriate.
Sorry.
No, but but we want people who have potential to grow and who have a spirit to teach others too, because we would want the curriculum to be established by people who went through the program and like
Yes.
got the thing. So that's why I wanted to call it No Excuse.
I like that.
I'm saying it like I've already made it, but these are dreams that I have, that I want a school, because it's so. I was telling this to my girlfriend the other night, Julia. Love you, Julia. Hi. But I was explaining that like an artist needs a space that's very specific to them,
Yes.
and I think a school shouldn't be just a school. Like we're sleeping on, we're building these dumbass. Sometimes you see old schools that are like churches, or like that are like architectural like beauties or something, like it's an exhibit. But now all schools are these cookie cutter like steel and brick slate
It's like a prison.
flat.
Like,
Yeah, it's
I
really like a cookie cutter institution.
exactly.
And
I
so,
talk about that a lot with people.
Like I love tech schools because you can go to tech school and like get your car fixed or get your hair done, or go get like from the culinary students from something off the menu at like a restaurant. So I like the idea that a school is a institution in of itself, that the school is a provider of things. So like I would want my school to be a art studio, like a performance art space, so people would go to see concerts of professional performers as well, and create the school as something to strive to work within, not to strive to work to get out of.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. I think that's I love that vision. I love the idea of that, because I think that that's what more people who want to get into education should strive for, as opposed to just becoming another, like
Yeah. collecting
teacher.
a check. A lot of charter
Exactly,
schools are
yeah.
just collecting the bag. They're just like, we're like a biochemistry engineering thing, but it's like they just scrape along the bare minimum, just
Yeah.
buy the newest books and the newest calculators and call themselves a school.
Yeah,
They don't really care that they're forging genius.
That's like one of the things I hate, is that like, the only ideal you see in terms of like, if you look at movies and culture, in terms of the educator that wants to like provide a better education for his students, what is it? Every single time it is a teacher who is like working against a failing, struggling system to like make, anywhere from 8 to 30 kids' lives better.
Yeah.
Right? Like as opposed to what you can do if you think just a little bit outside of like the public education system as it's set up now, is provide alternative schooling for people to do exactly like you said, to work
Yeah.
themselves into these like real goals. Like
Yeah, the
to
fact that
form
we have
these-
grades, like what's a grade?
and
That's so
the
fucking
fact that
stupid.
so many of us were trained for so long to chase that grade.
Grade is like an employee review. It's like, this is how well you did in
It's
our corporate
prestige
structure.
chasing. Yeah.
Yeah, you got an A, you're better than him because he got an F and he's a fucking dummy and he doesn't have dreams.
Yeah, you're on the
He's an
honor
idiot.
roll. You
Yeah.
were above the rest of the ilk of your
Bro,
class.
once you start using Latin to describe yourself, it's sus. Because the
Yeah.
Catholic Church has a history of using Latin to separate themselves from the poor people by giving mass in Latin, by reading the Bible in Latin, so that the poor people who spoke English or spoke Italian, I think, couldn't.
the Vulgate.
Yeah, they couldn't read what the truth of God's word is. And it's like the same shit when you call yourself like the summa cum laude and shit like that. And I think accomplishment should be rewarded. But I think accomplishment on the structure of academia is a very narrow-minded pathway. Because I think reward on making a film, reward on theater, is not treated with the same respect as
No.
like academic achievement of like
You get honorific titles.
a certificate.
For the academic achievement, and the honorific titles are such like lofty, like sort of like. So my favorite example of this is doctor, right? Like the fact like
Yeah.
academics are doctors, and this is prestigious, sort of like. So at my brother's graduation from Fordham, he at the time all of the faculty like marches up at the thing, and then they sit on the steps of like the main like the big like picturesque ideal like
Yeah.
Fordham building, and so you get this sea of like all the people with their frilly robes and all the hats that like signify
Yeah,
what
that's some
doctorates
cult
they
shit
have.
too.
It is some
Bro,
cult
it's
shit.
2021. Stop wearing a robe.
Literally, it's
Just
creepy.
go up there with some
It's
khakis,
creepy.
bro. Like,
Yeah,
what are we
like-
talking about? You're already getting a fancy piece of paper. That's
Yeah.
a symbol of
It-
your accomplishment.
If you're walking around in public in a robe, you are either a sexual predator or someone who's so full of themselves.
Yeah.
Like, but
Or you
so,
go to pray to Baphomet or some
yeah,
shit on
there's
that.
some-
Oh, what's that grove or something like Skull
Bohemian
and Bone?
Grove
Yeah,
in
Bohemian
the fucking
Grove.
in the woods in
Well,
California.
they won't tell you the government is actually in today. I saw Jeff Bezos there. They won't believe me.
the pedophiles are bleeding in from other dimensions. They're basically coming down and
Stop,
establishing
it's too good of an
themselves.
impression. We're gonna get canceled.
I do a really good Alex Jones.
We're gonna get kicked. The algorithm's like, wait, did Alex Jones just walk into this Gage's fucking room?
They said Alex Jones, get him. No, but so this, what was I talking about? The
pedophile rings.
No,
Pete
before
Robes, Academia.
yeah. So my
Now
brother's
I'm just thinking of
graduation.
macadamia nuts. I really want those like
White chocolate macadamia nut cookies. Hell yeah, man.
I want to get those from Toll House, but I'm too elevated to
Those
get
are
in the
the
car.
best.
I can't. I'm elevated right now. I can't.
I could drive and go pick some up after
Yeah.
this.
Go
No,
to
but
Walmart and just have a fucking snack haul, or go to CVS. I got a coupon.
so this whatchamacallit?
This American Life with Ira Glass.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to NPR National Public Radio. I'm Mike Massaro, your host.
And I'm Gage. This program is called The Snooze Button. Radio program built to board middle-class whites into a sweet, sedative sleep of peaceful enjoyment of their privilege.
We're going to lull you into a false sense of security right now, so please unlock your doors, sit back, and breathe easy.
Because endless wars are the answers to a stable economy.
Do you want to pay $5 a gallon for gas? I didn't fucking think so shut up.
Yeah, iPhones should be cheap too, shouldn't they? We all deserve 12 megapixel cameras on our phone because our lives are so interesting. We have so many things to take pictures of. My 11th kid that is going to inherit a fraction of the wealth that I've gotten from fucking over brown communities is going to deserves this 12 megapixel camera to take pictures of his dumb toddler face that I've seen a million times.
He needs it. How else is he going to become an influencer?
Yes, exactly what I was thinking. How else is he going to get a HelloFresh sponsorship to talk about healthy eating? Meanwhile, he does blow off of hookers' buttholes.
Promo code Duncan Eats below. No, so
Duncan Cheney.
Yeah, Duncan Cheney.
The great grandson of Dunkin' Donuts Cheney. Heir to the Dunkin' Donuts throne.
Dude, that's the guy who invented the strawberry frosted with sprinkles.
Oh, dude, I'm going to Dunkin' after this. We gotta hit up Dunkin',
Matt
bro. I'm trying to
Groening
get some
pays him
coffee.
royalties every time he uses the picture of Homer Simpson with the pink donut.
God damn, dude, I want a donut. I've been dieting really effectively, and I'm fucking kicking my abs in the butt. Yo, homeboy, I already had a cheap burrito, and I'm gonna fucking have a cheap dessert too, because today's wild. I'm elevated.
All right, I'm gonna finish the story before I forget.
Duncan
'cause I've been
Cheney.
teasing the shit out. It's the graduation thing.
Graduate,
with
yeah,
the
yes,
doctors,
yes, yes, yes,
academics.
yes. Doctors.
So-
Because wait, can we agree that medical doctors, deserve their doctorate?
Are doctors.
Yes.
Everyone else is not a
Good,
doctor.
thank you, thank you.
Well, so here's the perfect example.
Dr.
I'm glad
Martin
you
Luther
said that.
King's a fraud.
So
I knew it. Junior, sorry, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
this is not a belief of the Can We Be Friends podcast.
no,
This does not reflect the will of our corporate sponsor,
he-
Disney. Disney Media believes that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was an esteemed man who, I'm done with this.
Disney Plus still has Song of the
I
South
do, no.
on their library.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
Special collections.
Oh, God.
No, but so
these graduation
so he's graduating, and it's like a hot day, in like May or whatever, and we're sitting out there, and this old dude is in his robe, Father Zieglowitz. He's like the senior class dean. He collapses on stage at at the graduation. He just like drops like a sack of bricks, and the dean is up at the podium, and she's like, Oh no. And like everyone's like freaking out on stage. She goes, "Are there any doctors in the audience? Are there any doctors who can help Father Zieglowitz?" And I was like, "Hey, you got a whole stage full of them, bitch,
Oh,
and
man.
none of them can do anything except stand there with their hands over their mouths."
You know what's fucked, man, is at my graduation, I graduated from Boston University, which I think I explained the situation in a prior episode, the last episode, I hope. If not, long story short is went to a liberal arts school, went bankrupt because of alleged embezzlement, and it was sold off to Boston University as a annex of property claim, basically. So if you're looking for college, my tip to you is look for a college with low endowment and high property value. Sharks are in the water, and BU always looks good on a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
Don't trust the graduating class of 2019.
My grandfather went to BU.
Yeah, but he didn't graduate in 2019 because
No,
no,
he did not.
dumb. But we're so fucking stupid. Our school shouldn't have existed. I'm glad it's gone. But keep those wheels up, Wheelock. Go Wildcats. D3 motherfuckers. I have a poster, a larger than life size poster, vinyl poster of myself from Wheelock. Promotional picture that hung outside of my dorm, and I kept it.
Oh my god.
But anyways,
Should use it as your headshot when you do shows.
it's a pretty good looking picture. No, but the idea of like giving out doctorates to people who study like
Why?
philosophy and shit. It's like philosophy can't heal a broken bone or like
Look,
cure cancer.
I love philosophy. Like I'm a huge philosophy guy.
Yeah.
It like political philosophy is what I like basically love to study when I was doing politics at Fordham. But like, and in general, philosophy, human nature is one of my favorite subjects to discuss and read about. But like, it's like none of those academic disciplines deserve the title doctor. Like,
You don't have to
it's
keep
just,
up with the practice to make sure that you can still help people. Like doctors out of practice can't even practice medicine.
Yeah.
So they stop being doctors. It's like if you don't philosophize for 12 years, you're still a doctor.
Yeah.
It's like where are you?
You're just
flexing?
reading. You're just
Yeah.
publishing. Like whatever.
Yeah,
like
man.
it's fucked up. It's
is
so, and that's so I had to talk more shit about my college because I already
Please
like,
do. Fordham. Shout out.
yeah, shout out to Fordham.
Still not bankrupt.
Somehow,
Yeah.
God. Although like
Wasn't that Trump school?
yeah, Trump went there for a year, which they tried to desperately distance themselves from after like he.
Oh yeah, of course. Just
Yeah.
like Dartmouth didn't want to be associated with
Yeah.
harboring terrorists from the
Exactly.
Boston bombing.
Yeah.
Which is why in the movie Patriots Day, when it cuts to a shot of Dartmouth, what it's actually showing is Simmons College on Fenway, next to my old school, Wheelock College.
Fordham always gets like it's like so we have been Georgetown in like 3 different productions.
Yes.
So like in Madam Secretary, the which nobody watched.
Cut to Fordham.
Yep, they filmed it there. I was there. They filmed a couple of things there while I was on campus because like they used to get people on. Stanley Tucci was walking around campus one day.
Stanley
which is weird.
Tucci's great.
He is cool. I like him a lot.
He's such a great actor, but buddy, with that whole like, I will never allow stereotypes on. Shut the fuck up. I mean, you played
act.
every gay stereotype
Yeah,
in
literally.
like a movie, Devil Wears Prada. You bought a mansion off a stereotype.
We still like you.
We love
still
you,
like
dude.
you.
Tucci,
Like,
you
great
got
actor.
a great charisma. Just don't fall for that bullshit, bro.
You're a
Don't-
really
don't let your agent-
convincing gay man.
Yeah, don't let your agents tell you that's a good idea. It's a fucking terrible
Yeah.
idea.
But yeah, so to shit talk the school more and shit talk philosophers, even though I love philosophy,
Yeah.
I took my freshman year, the dorm I was in, it was like this like integrated learning community sort of deal. So like, you know, we got to like take classes with like special professors as freshmen. So like I got to have the dean, who was like one of the deans who was a philosophy professor for philosophy human nature. And he was a really like thoughtful person,
Yeah,
but
as you
he
should be
took
as a philosopher.
himself so like I remember
Oh,
one
yeah,
time
but you got to be able to take a joke, man. It's like I know you talk about Kant and Nietzsche and like whatever, but you got to be at a certain point be like, yeah, dude, I fucked so many bitches back when I was your age.
he gave us an article that he wrote one time for class, and he was like, and he was just sitting there, he's like, what does Parmack say about this this concept? Like what does Parmack say about what Aristotle says in this thing? And I'm like, dude, you're talking about yourself. I'm not going to talk about you in the third person to you and pretend like I'm not criticizing your
Oh, I'm above
your
my
work.
philosophy. I'm
Like,
not
yeah.
my work. I am above my work.
yeah, it's like fuck you. Be like just
Just be genuine.
like
Yo, I said some
ask
shit
for
back when I was a
criticism.
kid.
Yeah. Like ask for criticism and because I'm going to be more comfortable giving it to you if you're not talking about yourself in the third person, trying to distance yourself from it like that.
Big picture,
Like-
I can't really trust people that like explain ways of living a life. Like they're telling you how to like interpret things.
For a living.
Yeah. I don't know. Like unless
Seems
they're
like a
teaching you a
racket.
practical skill, like a carpenter or a tattoo artist or whatever. If you're teaching a skill, a thing to do, even day trading is like a skill if you're being taught to do that. But it's like if you're just teaching people how to view shit, like this is how you should live your life, or this is how like people have told me to live my life. It's like, I'm just gonna inform you of this.
I think one should certainly be skeptical of people who do that. However, I think you will often come across people who do that not out of any sense of like, you know, self-aggrandizement or want to jerk themselves off, but who do that because they want to share knowledge that they have acquired. And I think that a lot of times, you know, like the idea of the wise person, the sage person, you know, like the older sort of like person who has become skilled in living and can basically share wisdom, and, you know, the grandparent, right? You can share wisdom and knowledge that will help you make your way through tangible goals in your life. Like that's not a, that's a valuable person to have. I just don't think that I should say this. There are way more people who claim to be that than there should be.
Well, there certainly is a lot of valuable ones, but it's interesting how the most valuable ones seem to work for institutions that require they pay their eager learners, or that the eager learners pay tens of thousands of dollars every year
Yeah.
to have the privilege to attend your lessons. Like, if your philosophy is so important, why aren't you going to preach it in the streets?
Literally,
Why aren't you
like,
going to preach it like gospel? If you really believe in this shit, that people can achieve higher humanities, then why isn't it right that you're already going to a place of echelon and of privilege, not of a place where humanity is required?
well, so that's why I'm skeptical of academia. I don't think that those wise men are
yeah.
necessarily the
'Cause they get
doctors
to
and
spout their theories
professors.
without them butting up against reality. They
Yeah.
don't have to go out into the real world. They get to spit it to people who have the privilege to just assume an identity and not exist in a reality that controls their theories. Like a theory about if you got to cross the street because someone looks sketch and like someone's going to jump you, or a theory of like, not always having to double check your locks to make sure you don't.
Yeah.
It's like people have got other survival shit to worry about. And that's not to say that everyone who lives in bad neighborhoods like fearing for their life, but it's also like they look at the world as such a different way than you, because you're allowed to just ponder the hypothetical because you have time to fucking waste.
Yeah.
You don't have to get a job. You just need to spout your philosophy and you get paid for it. But
And
it's
don't
not
get me
your-
wrong. That's like that'd be cool. Like I mean, to be able to do that,
Yeah.
to be able to have like as someone who like loves intellectualizing and loves like thinking about shit academically, as I'm sure you do too, to be able to get paid a ton of money to sit there and think about the shit that you're going to think about anyway.
Yeah.
But really dedicate all of your focus and attention. You can get a lot done in the way of
But that's
making
why
progress.
I like podcasters and like magazine writers and shit like that. People who like have the balls to put their philosophies on the line.
To practice it.
Yeah.
To
and
get it out
to
there.
have people give them open criticism and
Yeah.
they can access it freely, but they're rewarded with their thoughts and they're influenced by like natural audience growth,
Yeah.
as opposed to being behind like a huge paywall from the jump. And
Peer
you call
review.
yourself a philosopher doctor, but like I get to your class and I don't really get much out of it. It's like
No.
I just waste all this fucking money. It's a gamble
dude, yeah.
on whether you're going to enlighten me.
And that's because like the whole idea of academia, like from everything to peer review to the journals to the honorifics is basically like one just massive set of water wings for intellectual theorization, because it's basically
It's not
like
dangerous. It's
yeah,
not
no,
innovative. It's
no.
off that same shit.
It's just built, and that's the same. That's why, like in the same vein, that is the exact reason that our legal system has so many problems, is because it's not built to identify problems and to change them in a meaningful way. It's built to make this long-term growth on very incremental, sort of like very well thought out, regulated, like slow steps.
Yeah.
Which is the sort of issue with academia is if we're trying to move past some shit that we really need to desperately fix, which I think we're at like that point in human history, we're sort of stagnating here. We're stalling out a little bit.
It's government
Like-
involvement in colleges.
Yeah, that's a massive part of it, because we're just cranking the wheel and we're not making any sort of like breakthroughs.
No.
We're staying in the same place.
That's why I want to create alternative education so that people feel like they can reach purpose without having to pay a dire cost. But if they're
Yeah.
willing to put their life on the line, of their art, their voice on the line, then we'll reward them with like a pathway to success because they've shown a desire to learn. And I think that is the only price you have to pay for education. I think having like an institution propped up as a certificate to valid education in the United States, and they sit behind tens of thousands of dollars of paywall. It's like, how can you have so many universities that are always the institution that tells me what's right? And also they preach all this like neoliberalism of like social reform and things like that. But these institutions do not pay a single penny in taxes.
Nope.
And they get to have their endowment play around in Wall Street funds all day, big sharks in the water, swimming around, making their endowment grow and grow. Then they have the audacity to take government money to pay students hourly rates to get on phones and call alumni and ask for money to donate back into the
Yep.
system. It's like organized
and
crime.
call former students who are working in most cases in lowly positions within
Oh, brother,
this
they
machine.
called me, and now they're like,
Same.
would you like to make a donation of $20.19 for your graduate class? I'm like, no.
I don't get
And they're like,
shit
how's
for
life
it, yeah.
now? Bad. Corona kind of ruined all the fucking jobs, but I'm sure you guys are
Mm-hmm.
still making hand over fist because you can be DeVry overnight and still be charging Harvard rates. And to be honest, I'm not doing great paying off my student debt because you guys fucking
Yeah.
charge so much money.
And not to mention that, but you basically hoodwinked me into thinking that this was going to be the way that I was going to best fulfill myself and following this like path that someone else has cut for me, when really like it took me 3 years after like deconditioning myself from all of that
Yeah.
bullshit to basically realize like no, like, and this goes back to your idea about education as an independent thing, and as sort of like deinstitutionalizing it from these
Yeah.
from these towers, is basically like you free people to pursue their own path, and that path is what's going to make the world better, because people are desperate to figure out new ways of doing things all the
Oh,
time.
yeah.
And if you stifle that and you tell them no, be safe, make the smart decision, get
fuck
a
that,
stable job doing the same thing the same way, because that's what you should do. People aren't going to take the leaps of faith that it takes to build a cool new business that meets some need that's not being met, to,
Yeah.
to go out on a limb and create art that someone else isn't creating,
Dude.
because you're the only one who has it in your head.
These
Like-
corporations work so hard to work their PR team into making the American public believe that there is a lack of jobs out there. The media churns out these statistics of jobs created, jobs lost, this, that, the other thing. It's like, bro, you know how easy it is to. I mean, I understand it's tougher for certain people in certain regions of the United States, but in general, the access to jobs has become far too easy to use that as like a ploy in your politics,
Oh.
to say like, well, you should be afraid because you don't know if you're going to be able to find a job again. Maybe you won't be able to find a comparable job, but maybe you take that on the chin and realize that you're not being valued at your company and you just got fired, so you're going to go work for
Mhm.
like a cheaper company so you can grind on your dreams, where you can create a business where employees are respected. But I think more so it's like they make you fear that if you leave Amazon you're never coming back, or like there's not going to be an opportunity for you if you pass up now. Don't sell out of your own position. And the reality of the situation is it's like it's so easy that people should be taking the time to find themselves, because it's going to be worth more to them penny saved, penny earned, and $70,000 in debt saved is certainly a lot more money for me earned right now. Because
Yeah.
I'm making money. I'm making like $30 an hour working overtime every other month, but all that money's going right into a debt. So it could be being put into savings where I could save for like a couple years and like have a good amount of money. But instead, I was shifted down this little river of this little path that was given to me. And alternatively, I mean, not alternative, I definitely want to create an arts academy for high schoolers. But I also wish there was a program that was as fun PR wise, as fun of a program as college, but wasn't college. Like, you need something to divert people away from academia. You need some program, because you can't just be like, oh, do you want to join this co-op to move to a city
Yeah.
to be with young people in like a hostel and like have fun? Because that's really what people want out of college.
Yeah, they want
They
they,
don't
they
want higher
want that
education, they
social
want
freedom. Yeah.
They want that American, that American dream, not of like the teenage American dream of like
American
road
Pie.
trips and like getting away and being with other people and being away from your parents, being your own man, being your own woman. And that's what college mostly offers. You look at the advertisements and it's like heavily leaning into like independence and shit like that. But then
It's all the same shit that cigarette companies use to
oh, yeah.
advertise to
Oh,
people,
yeah,
which
like,
I've always
relax.
found kind of hilarious. Socialize
And
with
college
people,
places
have
are so
fun.
As a college student, college areas are fun because everyone else is around there. Everyone's young and fucking excited to be young and together, and it's like Miami everywhere, you know? But here's the thing is like,
Miami.
but then it's this backdrop of education, like we're fooling ourselves into thinking that all these 17-year-olds just left their parents' house to go be with hot girls and guys because they care so much about gender studies, that they care so much about philosophy, that they are just stoic philosophers that will dedicate their lives in a monastic sense to make sure that their philosophy's on point. No, they're
Just
going there to
fucking
drunk and
kids,
fuck and like
yeah.
have fun and get away from their parents. So I wish there was an alternative, which is why I like the arts so much more, because it's so much more
Traveling.
subjective. Yeah, like I would want to create programs of like service, like because make like a service trip thing way more fun. You know what I mean? Because everyone's ranking on these girls for like, oh, you just went to Costa Rica to like have pop off and have fun. It's like, yeah, but she's getting her selfish like Instagram worthy like fun out of it, but she's also helping a community. And now I'm speaking out of pocket at this point, because I'm sure these communities need help that's actually effective. So maybe that's where my like edge in the market is. Maybe I actually create relationships with these areas and like ask them what they really need, and then give an excuse for these kids to travel, but then also do legitimate work because they'll do it for free for like intern credits, and then they get to have the fun of like cheaper housing in an area and just like fucking fool out. And but whatever. But that's a kind of a crazy college kid theory on that one. But just the idea that like most people shouldn't be going to college. College isn't for everyone. It is for a very specific set of people. I've always said, at least at this current stage, until the government gets out of fucking college and makes college less affordable, it's criminal to say that kids need to go to college no matter what.
Yeah,
that like
100%.
Everything has to come back to college. Like there should be like a gap year culture like we have in Europe and stuff like that for countries that actually provide the education for their students. They don't want just dummies. So they're like, if we're paying for this shit, we don't want dum-dums.
Yeah.
Let's weed out the people who just want to party by letting them party before they go to college. And they're like, do you want to give up the party and like actually show up to class on Monday? They're like, fuck no, I want to party all week. They're like, all right, stay partying, work in a factory.
Yeah.
Everyone else, let's go learn how to be a doctor. You know, so I don't know.
It's a much better way of
yeah, man. Just let
things.
people be fucking free, man, because you kill so many dreams. You know what I mean? Like dreamers have the privilege and the just enough access, just enough capability to have the free time and the free thought to like make their shit come true, make dope movies or whatever. But you squash that by saying you got to work in an office.
They almost fucking got me.
Yeah, man. Well, there's some comics I know. There's certainly a particular comic I know who works an office job and is just squandering his creativity. It kills dreams, man. Because it also gives you a very narrow perspective. And as comedians, we need a super wide perspective. We need to travel. We need to see lives take action. Because soon our lives won't be enough. There'll be a run out of material from our life.
Yeah.
So we have to perceive the world around us and have a perspective, have a take, have a philosophy on stage. And that requires a certain bit of nomadic lifestyle. Not just sat up at a gray cubicle and just typing away other people's money.
You're gonna run out of original shit, and that's so like.
Which is why, like, when I moved to New Jersey with my girl, like, I've considered, like, I just want to go back to Starbucks, or I want to be a waiter. I just want to be something of the people. I want to get back in touch with people, the customers, the public, the polite society, the non-polite society, just
the vulgate,
just the human condition.
The real shit. Yeah, I get that. That's
I fuck with it. That's why I love traveling, man. People are so the same but so different in weird ways. You see like Turkish bros who are super masculine, but they kiss each other on the cheek.
Yeah.
And America, like a bunch of bitches, but they'll fucking rock with their guys.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's nuts, man.
I don't know.
Human nature.
I don't know if I've reached the end of my train of thought here, but I feel like that's a good place to end.
I agree.
Politics.
I think it's a great place to end.
Next time we'll talk about Epstein because that motherfucker did not kill himself.
Not at all.
And
I just talk about economics next time too.
Economics, fuck yeah! I want to talk about like capitalism and like markets. I want to get. I think you convinced me. I'm not gonna get a book on cults. I want to get a book on black markets.
Hell yeah, dude!
How those operate. So, anyways, thank you for joining us for episode. Because I called last one episode 0. So episode one.
Yeah.
Because I like doing that shit. Because I'm into robotics and coding too, man. We all start with 0. But thank you for joining us for episode 1 of Can We Be Friends? I've been Gage Morrow.
And I have been Mike Massaro.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Take care.
Peace.